Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hi everyone. In this video we will be looking at another suggested question for question 1 from the coverage of a grade 11 elite for term 2. So this is very similar to the first question, the one we did in the previous video. So this is a piecewise function and we need to answer 3 parts. Part A says for what value of k is, if any, is f continuous at x equals minus 3. And again, we can see the minus 3 here. So we need to check the two-sided limits. It says f is continuous at x equals minus 3. That means the limit of f of x as x approaches minus 3 from the left, it should equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches minus 3 from the right. This is because f is continuous at x equals minus 3. So, which piece we are going to use for the left-sided limit? The left-sided limit is going to be the first piece, so we have the limit as x approaches minus 3 of 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 all over x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals the limit of the second piece is going to be used for the left-sided limit, which is kx plus 1 over 2. This is when x approaches minus 3 from the right side. Now, if you look at the left-sided limit and you substitute the minus 3, you are going to get 0 over 0. 0 over 0, so you need to manipulate the limit so that it's not 0 over 0 anymore. So both of them are quadratic, so we can use factoring here. So the limit as x approaches minus 3 from the left. So there are two brackets here, two factors. The first one will be 2x, the second one will be x. Two numbers with a product of minus 3 and a sum of plus 5. Those numbers would be here minus 1 and here plus 3. And factoring the denominator, there are also two factors, x and x, plus 3 and plus 1. We get two numbers with a product of 3 and a sum of 4. So 3 and 1 equals, we can just substitute here k, and this is minus 3 plus 1 over 2. So this one is going to cancel with this one, and plug in the minus 3, you get 2 times minus 3 minus 1 over minus 3 minus 1 equals minus 3k plus 1 over 2. So this one will be minus 6 minus 1 minus 7 over what? This is a plus, isn't it? It's 1, plus 1. So minus 7 over minus 2, which is 3.5 equals minus 3k plus 1 over 2, it's the same as 0.5. So we can just subtract 0.5 from both sides, and that means 3.5 minus 0.5, which is 3, equals minus 3k. That means k equals minus 1. So the value of k is negative 1. So make your answer as formal as possible, okay? So use the limit notation correctly. The second part is what type of discontinuity does f have at x equals 0? Again, we know that the 0 appears here, so we need to check what? We need to check the two-sided limits and the function value. So we know that for part B, f of 0 is equal to, we will use the first piece, which is k times 0 plus 1 over 2, which is 1 over 2. So we need to check the limit of f of x as x approaches 0 from the left, which is equal to the limit as x approaches 0 from the left of, again, the same piece for the left side, kx plus 1 over 2, plug in the 0, you will get 1 over 2. Now what about the limit of f of x as x approaches 0 from the right? You will use the last piece, so it's the limit as x approaches 0 from the right of 2 raised to x over 3 raised to x minus 1. So this is equivalent to what? Infinity, right? This is infinity. Infinity, that means there is, what do we call it? We call it an infinite. There is an infinite discontinuity at x equals 0, or there is a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. VA, it means vertical asymptote at x equals 0. The third part is find all horizontal asymptote to the graph. Finding the horizontal asymptote is again, as we discussed in the previous video, is done by finding what? The limit of the function as x approaches minus infinity and the limit of the function as x approaches positive infinity. So you look back at the function, minus infinity is here and positive infinity is here. So we will use the first and the first and the last two sub-functions are going to be used. So for this one, we have the limit as x approaches negative infinity. The first piece is, let me just copy it down. Two x squared plus 5x minus 3 all over x squared plus 4x plus 3, and the last piece is the limit as x approaches positive infinity of 2 to the power of x over 3 to the power of x minus 1. So the first one, again, we will be looking at the ratio of the leading coefficient, which is 2 over 1, because the highest degree on top is 2, the highest degree in the denominator is 2, so the ratio of the leading coefficient will be 2 over 1, which is 2. And the second one, this is an exponential. It grows much faster than this minus 1. So this minus 1 has no effect. So we can cross it out because we are dealing with infinity. So this is the limit of 2 to the power of x over 3 to the power of x as x approaches positive infinity, which is the same as the limit of 2 over 3 raised to infinity, raised to x raised to x as x approaches positive infinity. So if you evaluate this limit, it will be what? It will be 0. That means there, not this one. So there are two horizontal asymptote, HA, it means horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 and y equals 2. So these are the two horizontal asymptotes. So looking at the points or the marks or the scoring guide for this question, 3 points for finding k, which is -1. You have to write all the steps we have discussed, but 2 points for given are given for the identifying the type of discontinuity, which is infinite discontinuity or vertical asymptote at x equals 0. And then we have 2 points for the last part, the asymptote y equals 0 and y equals 2, with showing your work, of course. All the best.